You mentioned population growth is not a big issue, but it's one big issue. And you go back 2 slides of Marcus' presentation, you find this one very interesting to the fact you see this heat map where the yield shift is quite dramatic. And these are the hotspots of Germany. I guess you guys are familiar with the federal structure of Germany. You have not only one big center like London or Paris, you have at least 7 bigger cities, plus numbers of regional centers like Wolfsburg, like Braunschweig, like smaller cities, student cities like Freiburg or Münster, for example, which also are attractive. Small market, especially for you guys from the US, but very interesting markets. So it is one thing. You mentioned population growth, and you see where we expect more population growth due to the fact of this re-urbanization trends, especially in the top 7 cities of Berlin, of Munich, etc., but also an additional demand of increase of single household structures. So we are an aging society on one hand, plus we have a next factor of this higher and much higher than expected net immigration for the next, I would say, next years, not months. So one thing I've learned from Marcus' presentation is the segregation issue. To look at each city in particular, to look at household structures, to look at income structures, to look at pockets within the city, not only on sub-market level, even on street level, where you can find product and when you can find investment opportunities. One thing is demand, other supply, and you see that in Germany, due to the impact of the global financial crisis, there's the demand side, the supply side is a little bit lagging the demand side. So we have in the bigger cities a huge amount of households the last couple of years, since 2004 and 2013, and you see the gap between the increase of households and the completed units in these time frame. And this has an impact on rents and also on the prices. And you see, especially in the resi sector for relettings, we have a dramatically increase the last couple of years, especially after the global financial crisis in 2008. So this already starts really at 2009 with sometimes double-digit growth. And it's not only an issue for the top 7 markets, it's also an issue for the smaller market, the mid-sized markets. Cities like Kassel, for example, or Eichstätt or the Ingolstadt, mostly driven by automotive sector, especially Volkswagen. Also Ingolstadt, it's not far away from Munich here, but also regional cities. And you see on an average basis the rental growth or the asking rents, that the regional cities are sometimes outperforms the top 7 markets. And this is more or less one of the main driver currently for the residential investment market, only for multifamily housing. Currently, H1 2015 figures are in the range of 16 billion. 9 months of 2015, we have over 18 billion euros invested, and we expected another 7 for the next 3 months until the end of the year. Lack of product, massive amount of capital will drive cross multiple. This is for on average product. It's not prime product, so we can't find any product of in Munich, for example, for 28 or 24 cross multiplier currently, but it's also a trend I mentioned from 2009 up to 2016, but it's now more or less stabilized at a very high level. In all of these cities, this reflects the top 7, and it's the same story for the regional centers and university cities as well. So what are our expectations? We see a further increase in households will cause a growth of demand for residential space and ongoing and unexpected net migration. So we're talking about 1 million, 1.5 million refugees and asylum seekers the next year without their families and their relatives. So there are potentially another 7 million is 10% of the total population of Germany currently. So we have also the issue that demand exceeds dramatically supply due to the low construction volume, and the completion rate of rental housing will likely remain low to the fact that the rents are capped on the one side and often below 10 euro per square meter. And one big issue, especially in the top 7 cities and the regional center, is the lack of available land, and this will also drive up the land prices. One thing, I guess, this is something for the panel later on, is the new regulation on capping of rents on reletting in Germany. So far, as we know, and this is something my colleague Konstantin will discuss in more detail, we do not see any massive impact of this rental capping regulation here in Germany on investors' decisions currently. But there's an increasing uncertainty.